thanks everybody for joining us. My name is Dave. I am an information specialist with McMaster Continuing Education, and this is the student orientation webinar. So this is the webinar we run every term at the just before the start of each term to help people understand the basic concepts around being a student with us, just kind of how things work, how to use our website, how to enroll in courses, etc., the different platforms we use. Without further ado, let's jump into our recognition and acknowledgement that McMaster is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee Nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. So this is the agenda that we are going to cover today. So we're going to be talking about some of the, giving you a general overview, talking about what the benefits of continuing education are. We're going to be going over our learning formats, which is a really important one to understand, because there are different, some courses have different options for learning formats, and they can differ a fair bit. So it's very important to make sure you understand that. We're going to talk about how to plan your studies, how to register, a little info on budgeting, like what you should expect costs to be. We're going to go over the platforms that are used. They're connected to McMaster and continuing education. And we'll go over some online learning tips, and as well as do some myth busting. And we will go over support services and resources. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to give you a really quick and summarized history here. So McMaster Continuing Education was established all the way back in 1931. A lot of people are surprised by this. That yes, we have existed in some form for quite some time. And we are currently located in downtown Hamilton. And we are one of Canada's largest and leading providers of online certificate, diploma, and professional development programs and courses. So what I like to let people know on this slide is basically the point of continuing education is that, yeah, we are a separate division from the main university that has always focused on really making high quality education, and many of our courses are approved by various groups and committees within the main university, in terms of like their quality, in terms of their credential validity and that sort of thing. And this has been the case for a long time. And basically the point is that we're bringing that high quality of McMaster approved education to the masses, making it more accessible through many of our programs have completely open enrollment. They have no application process. So basically it's like you can take these courses online, you can do it in your spare time, you can do it around your work schedule, around your study schedule elsewhere, whatever the situation may be. And that's kind of always been the goal of what McMaster Continuing Education is trying to do. And and that legacy continues to today. So as I've kind of was just going over on that slide, these are some of the benefits, right? So we are offering relevant skills for today's job market. And all of our programs are, I'll mention all of our programs are very heavily researched. We have an amazing team of instructional designers whose whole job is to, not just design the course content, but they have to go through a rigorous process of, researching and, proving that the, course they've designed is appropriate for, for a very current job market, right? And of course a future job market as well, right? Looking as far forward as possible and going like, yes, we are designing these courses with this idea in mind. All of our courses are online. They allow a large degree of flexibility, and depending on the learning format, there's greater and lesser degrees of flexibility, and we'll talk about that more shortly. And then of course that means work-life balance is on the table, right? You get to really make your choice in terms of what you're going to do. Knowing, of course, in advance what these different learning formats entail, which is our next slide. So this is an overview of our learning formats. Now, what you're going to see, I'm going to quickly tab over. Well, we'll stay on this slide for now, and I'll just explain these learning formats, and then I'll show you how to recognize them. So the one that I want to start off talking about is this middle one. It's simply named online. This is the most common learning format we offer. So most courses that we offer are in this format in the middle. And this is an asynchronous format. So there are no scheduled lectures or meetings that you need to attend. Some courses do have group work. They do have group projects sometimes, so you may need to make arrangements with your group that you're all going to meet at a certain time. But other than that, there's no you don't have to show up for certain times for certain classes. But there are deadlines throughout the course. So, it'll be posted at the start. The first assignment is due this day, and you have to submit it virtually. Maybe it's a quiz or whatever, right? And you just kind of go along and you meet those deadlines. Now, so that, like I said, that's our most common one. I'll talk next about virtual classroom. So virtual classroom is, as it sounds like, that is a synchronous thing that you show up for. So you show up and you do this, right? You have conversations, you listen to a lecture via a Zoom call, and you're interacting directly with your instructor and your peers. I do want to mention, talking about interaction, that in all of these formats, although there aren't video lectures, or at least there's not going to be mandatory ones that you need to attend. Instructor may post a video of themselves, but there's not going to be mandatory. But there are in all of these formats, you can access your instructor, you can communicate with your peers. It's very common for courses to involve discussions that are going to be evaluated. So interaction is always a part of it, but you don't need to be. The virtual classroom is like the most interactive, right? It's the one where you are attending lectures with the instructor on camera. Okay. I will also mention that those are recorded, those lectures. So we definitely do not recommend that you take these courses take a virtual classroom course thinking, oh, okay, cool, I'll just watch the recordings and I don't have to make it to the classes. And that's because it's really up to the instructor's discretion on how soon they upload the recordings for that they did. So don't come into it thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna not attend any of the classes, because you probably you're going to be then stressed to try to learn things on time before assignments are due and stuff like that. It's really just meant to be like a backup thing. And online self-study courses. So this is the most flexible. It's similar to online, except that these courses, they can last a maximum of I want to say up to 6 months or ish, can be the maximum time for them. But then you can also choose to get through the content quickly, and you can submit assignments, much earlier than they would otherwise be due. And you can wrap up the course in as quickly as a little over 2 months. So that is kind of how that works for online self-study. So a good way to think of it is, if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to take this course, you don't plan to try to, and if you're thinking, oh, I can just do the content anytime within that 6 months, that's not quite the case, because you can't do the whole course at the end of the timeline, but you can sort of bunch it all up in the beginning. So basically, you can either go fast or default speed. Those are kind of your options with online self-study. Okay. Again, asynchronous, no lectures. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. So with all that talking that I just did about about these learning formats, I'm sure folks have a pretty good understanding then of what of what you should expect. I will mention that The majority of our courses are expected to take anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a week on average, just in terms of like the work that you'll need to do per week, including attending virtual classes if there are any. And then on top of that, readings and assignments, etc. Some courses that are a little more intensive are maybe closer to 8 to 10 hours per week on average. So basically, looking at what your schedule is, what you're doing, working full time or part time or whatever it is that you do, going to school elsewhere, just basically keep that in mind, and then make your choice accordingly, right? Depending on what your capability and desire is to do multiple courses at once. In most cases, it's fine to take as many courses at a time as you wish. Just keep in mind that some courses do have prerequisites, or by which we always just mean that they need to be done in a certain order, right? So any courses that have that requirement will say so on the course page. So that can perhaps limit you to how many courses you can take at a time. But other than that, you're free reign to choose your own schedule. Okay. Okay, let's talk about how to register. This is probably one of the main questions that you came here to clarify. I will cover this registration criteria here first, because a lot of people kind of expect there to be more requirements, I guess, than there are. So I just want to clarify what this actually what is actually the case. So we have a small handful of programs that do require you to submit an application. There's 3 of them, but every other program that we offer, the vast majority, are open enrollment. They do not require you to submit an application. So all you have to do for most programs, let's say you want to take human resources management diploma, you would pick out a course from that diploma, and you would add it to your cart. You want to take another course at the same time, you could add that to your cart as well. When you're satisfied with your selection, you check out. If you're a new student, the checkout is going to run you through an account creation process. And if you have taken courses before, then you're just going to put in your existing, you'll be prompted to sign into your existing account, and you do that, and then you pay for the courses at a checkout screen with a credit card, and that's it. That is it. If you're a first-time student and you're doing that, and you create your account and then you pay, you are now in the course and you're now in the program. If you want to be, there's no requirement. There's no there's no commitment to these programs, really. Like, you're just saying, you're saying, yeah, I'm interested in pursuing this, but you can, change your mind anytime and continue to not take courses if that's, what you want to do. Yeah, for open enrollment courses, the only real criteria that we expect, and again, you don't submit documents to us proving this or anything like that. We're just sort of telling you, like, this is, for your information, for your benefit, this is what you should have. So you should probably have a high school education. If you don't have a high school education, you can be a mature student, which just means that you've been out of school for 2 or more years. That means out of public or post-secondary school. And then even then, if that's not the case for you, we certainly can make exceptions as well. Like, basically, if you're concerned that you don't meet this criteria for some reason, just reach out to us and we can talk about it. That's all that means. That's all that exceptional case piece means. Talking about English proficiency, again, application programs do require you to report a test score for a English proficiency test. But if you're in an open enrollment program, you don't have to worry about it. Basically, if you just should have strong English skills. If you're concerned that maybe your English skills aren't up to par, then what you can do is you can Google McMaster English Proficiency, and you're going to find a page from the main university that lists a bunch of test scores, and you can look at those test scores to get for a reference point of where your language skills should be at, and those are good for our courses as well. But yeah, nothing to submit, etc. Okay. So let us then yeah, move on to this part about budgeting your studies. So keep in mind that like a lot of people kind of think like, okay, so do I have to pay for my whole program up front? Or no, you don't have to do that. You're just paying for each course as you take it, and but some courses do involve some extra fees. So like if you're, for example, if you're taking accounting courses, each accounting course does have some external textbooks that you need to buy. They cost between $150 to $200, like for total textbook cost per course. And currently, there's also an exam fee for $50 as well. And then every student needs to pay a $39 administrative fee with their first course. But it's only with their first course, and actually only if they are academic courses for that matter. So that's kind of how the finances break down. A lot of people message us asking, can I get OSAP for this? So talking about financial assistance options here on the right side. The case for this is that McMaster Continuing Education, the vast majority of our programs, and especially the academic ones, do not qualify for OSAP. However, we do have, as you can see on the right side here, a bunch of alternative options. And the main one of those would be the bursary slash award for part-time students. And I will mention that although it has 4 part-time students in the name, you actually do not have to be maintaining a part-time schedule, which means 1 or 2 courses at a time, whereas 3 or more at a time is full-time student. But yeah, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many courses you're taking, you can still apply to this. It's just one of those things. And then there's also a bunch of other programs that you could look into, like Better Jobs Ontario, Windmill Microlending. Lots of people have their employers pay for courses, so that sort of thing. Okay. If you have more questions about this, just let us know. Okay. So before I move on to Mosaic, I want to just quickly jump over to our website and show you an example of what we've been talking about. Okay, because it's kind of easier to just show you on the website. Okay, so just for my visual learners out there, I'm just gonna pick a random program category and a random program. Let's say that you want to take applied clinical research. So as you can see here, I clicked on programs and courses. I went to health and social services, right? And then looking at the health and social services programs page, I'm going to click on applied clinical research, and there's every program page is structured basically this same way. You have an overview tab with like important general info, and then this from taking these courses you can earn a certificate. So we have a certificate tab here, and this is the tab that houses the list of courses themselves. You can see that every course is open for registration right now. This is a bit of I just chose this example randomly. This is a bit of a tricky one, because with this program, you actually more or less need to take the courses one at a time. But just bear in mind for other programs, you could take multiple courses at once. But just to show you, like, they're all set up the same way. So you can see here. By the way, this yellow tag means that says 3.0 units means that it is a full academic credit course. So if that's something that you need to sort of keep in mind, if you depending on what your needs are or what you're pursuing, that's what that means. So let's say you're starting with ACR 101, Principles of Clinical Research. You would just click on this tile, and then you can see here, okay, it's being offered in an online format, right? So we talked about learning formats. Here's the page that explains it on our website, right? And if you want to find this page, by the way, it's on the right-hand side of any of these course pages. So there's the link right there on the right-hand side, learning formats, in case you forget. So we can see that it's in the online learning format. It runs from May 6th to July 28th. It costs $952.83. By the way, most of our courses do not have any tax added on top of this course fee. So then you would just click on this. You see some more important information. If it was a virtual classroom course, you would see the schedule right here. But in this case, there's no scheduled classes because it's online format, right? And you're just going to add it to cart, right? And then once you add to cart, your cart is up here in the right-hand side. And once you have your selection that you're happy with, you're just going to go into your cart, and there's a button there that says proceed to checkout. And then you just follow the steps from there. Okay. So going back to our PowerPoint then, when you do your checkout, you're not going to see this login screen during the checkout, but you are going to be redirected through our our sort of background student admin platform called Mosaic. So this is one of the platforms that we have that's very it's not something that a lot of students are using on a day-to-day basis, but it is very important because this is where you go to handle all of any of your student account and like financial stuff. So if you need to print off a sort of course completion document, a sort of not official transcripts have their own method, which is also through Mosaic, but you can print off like a casual list of your, like an informal, I guess, list of your grades through Mosaic as well. You can do a bunch of stuff in here, adjust your student information and things like that. And you can also, of course, double check what courses you're enrolled in if you want to just verify that you are enrolled. So the login for this, if you're just coming to this website through through the URL, your login for this is going to be your Mac ID, which is your McMaster email address that you get when you register, minus the @mcmaster.ca part. So if let's just say your Mac ID is J Smith, then your Mac ID that you put in there for the username would be J Smith instead of jsmith@mcmaster.ca, which would be your full email. And then your password is the same across all platforms. Okay. So that is basically what Mosaic is, what it's about. So next we will talk about Avenue to Learn. Avenue to Learn is the website where you go to do your studies in the vast majority of cases. So and if not, that that'll be explained to you. But yeah. Avenue to Learn is our learning platform. So when you take what happens is when you register for a program with us, you get some emails, you get walk through some stuff you have to do. You have to activate your Mac ID. Activating your Mac ID basically just means that it is activated for these Microsoft-based features, which includes Avenue to Learn. So when you look at the actual login screen on the website, it actually says login using Microsoft 365, which is a little bit not quite as clear as use your Mac ID, but that's just what it says. And so you log in with that, and that's going to be your full email address plus the password that you use for the rest of your account, and that is where your course content is going to be. Please note that if your course starts on May 15th, the content is not going to be there until May 15th. So we often have people go log into Avenue to Learn and go, hey, my course isn't there, because they don't know about Mosaic. They don't know they can go there to check, and they're just looking at Avenue and they're going, hey, my course content isn't there. And then we let them know, hey, don't worry about it. Your course content doesn't actually show up until the course starts. And that's going to show you, due dates and stuff like that, those kind of details. So yeah, let's say there's probably some of you in this webinar today who have registered for courses that are starting in early May. And so the important thing for all of you to do, I want to make sure that all of you have done this, is you make sure that you've activated your Mac ID. You should have received an email about this. shortly after registering. If you didn't see this email, check your junk mail because sometimes they get filtered there. Okay. Once you find that, and if you still can't find that email, reach out to us, contact us, and we'll send you the info that you need. But what you need to do is look at that email, follow the instructions in that email that explain how to activate your Mac ID. Once you've done that, within 15 to 30 minutes, you are going to get an email saying your Mac ID has now been activated. And then it'll direct you to this website, to Avenue to Learn. Then you should go on and just make sure that your login works. Again, you're not going to see any course content there until it starts, but knowing that you're all set for logging into this platform will, is a good idea to do now, because if you run into any sort of hiccups or issues, better, to resolve that now than on the day that your course starts. So that's my recommendation. Okay. So let's talk then about some online learning tips and myths. So, yeah, I just gave you this tip of explore Avenue to Learn ahead of time. You can also review course outlines and schedules. So I'll show you where to find course outlines. Okay, so I'm going back to our website here. So I'll just continue using ACR 101 as my example. Let's say that I want to find course outline. Oh, sorry, it's not on the course page. But if you go back to the program page, and I want to look at, so I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, which course should I take or whatever, right? You can click on, well, the main information on the courses and the order you should take the courses is on this overview page. But if you want to know more details, when you're looking at the courses themselves, you can go to this course outlines link. You can click that, and all of our program, like basically they're organized here by terms of program name. You can use filters and you can search specific things, or you can just find them. They're in alphabetical order. So if we're looking at applied clinical research, here it is near the top. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to take us into it might look slightly different for you, but basically it's going to take you into this archive where you can find folders that have the documents in them. Okay, so that's how that works. And you just now not all of the course outlines for the upcoming spring summer 2024 term have been uploaded just yet, but if they are not uploaded now, they will be soon. I believe that's in the process of happening now. But you can also always look back at an older one, and in all likelihood, it's going to be, pretty similar. So yeah. Now, okay, let's go back to our PowerPoint. Yeah, so we kind of discussed this. Obviously, plan your time management approach, and set up your dedicated study space. That's not something that everybody can easily do. If you have a full house, busy house, yada yada, I understand. But it's a good idea to do that if you possibly can, right? If you can kind of have your quiet space that is sort of dedicated to doing your work, it's just makes it a little easier. That's a work from home tip you can take from me, because it applies to us doing our jobs as well, right? As I'm sure everybody knows, online etiquette, best practices, just we've been, a lot of people have been used to this for quite a while, right? Knowing things like muting yourself in a Zoom call when you're not the one supposed to be talking and stuff like that, right? That kind of online etiquette is always a good thing to keep in mind. So I'm gonna move on then to myths. So something that a lot of people are worried about is not having any support online. They're thinking, well, I want to have lots of interaction. I want to have lots of support, and I don't want to be going this alone. Well, that's totally understandable. And, we're not going to sit here and pretend that online learning is exactly the same or just as good for everyone as in-person learning is. Of course not. Everybody is different. And, what is best for you, depends on what your needs are, of course. We are currently, catering to a student population that the vast majority of them prefer to take online classes. So but what I want to really underline here is that it's not the case that you're not going to have any support online. The instructor's main job, really, I would say, is like for online courses, they're not lecturing, right? Online and online self-study courses, they're not lecturing to you. So really their main job is to be there to support you. That is kind of the whole thing that they do. They are typically doing that via email. They may also have like other ways for you to get in touch with them. They may have live sort of office hours doing, like virtual office hours or possibly in-person office hours. But whatever the case may be, and in-person office hours would be I'm not actually sure if that exists. I should clarify. But if it did, it wouldn't be the only option that was available. So if you're not nearby, you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Everything in our courses that you need is offered virtually for sure. Yeah, the point is that you do have support, and it may not be with an instructor like kind of being there right next to you, but they are available to help you. Okay. Another concern that people have is that the quality of online courses is not the same as in-person courses. Well, here's the thing. A lot of, as everybody knows, the 2020 pandemic happened, and when it did, a lot of schools moved their courses online, public schools, post-secondary schools, etc., and to very mixed results, right? There's no doubt about that. And what we want people to know is that we actually have been doing online courses for much longer than since 2020. We've been doing it for I'm going to say close to, if not more than a decade before that. So we really know what we're doing when it comes to our online courses. We are not coming in and trying to figure out how to get things set up or having this sort of diminished quality of course that wasn't meant to be online or something like that. No, all of our courses are designed from the ground up to be delivered online. They are designed and delivered by experts and instructors, respectively, that have years of experience doing exactly that. You really don't need to worry about coming in and having some sort of subpar experience because it's online. Again, it's not going to be the right fit for absolutely everybody, but many of our students are very, very happy with the quality of our courses and what the experience that they get. So another thing that people worry about is, oh, I'm not going to have a chance to network with my peers. Well, you actually do get the chance to network with your peers, because in every there's a section in Avenue to Learn that has a list of your peers that you can reach out to individually. Let's say you saw somebody in a discussion making a point that you thought was really interesting. There's nothing stopping you from reaching out to that peer and say, hey, like, I'm really interested in learning more about that. Keep in mind that most of our students are working professionals. They are older than like 19, 20 year old students who maybe have either been in school for a few years or they've been working already for a few years. So there's stuff that you can learn potentially even from or more than a few years in some cases, right? So yeah, there's definitely stuff you can learn from your peers themselves. You can say, hey, maybe you're interested in working in the industry that one of your classmates mentions that they work in, and that there's a contact for you, right? So yeah, don't write off networking opportunities, and use the resources that you have at your disposal to their fullest extent. And a lot of courses do involve discussions just as part of the evaluation structure. So those conversations with your peers about the topic that you're learning about are built right into the course, and is not even necessarily a thing that you have to just go and go pursue on your own, like set up by yourself, right? Let's quickly go over newcomer information. So If you are looking for really whether you're a newcomer or not, we have there's career development resources out there for you, right? So there's Employment Ontario Service Centers, which you can look into. These can help you get, obviously these are for job search purposes. There's lots of these right in Hamilton, and at least one in most municipalities. And they can also potentially get you set up for some funding programs as well, like Better Jobs Ontario, for example, has to be set up through an Employment Ontario Service Center. And then if you are not a permanent resident in Ontario, you can get the same kind of services from the Immigrants Working Center. That one is Hamilton specific, but that's a good resource to know about if you are local to Hamilton. We have there's the BioTalent skilled newcomer wage subsidy, which is a thing that you can look into if you are working in the bioeconomy sector, which is a really large, a lot of you said you were interested in health programs, so many of those could most likely be considered to be in the bioeconomy sector. It's a pretty broad field, so these are just some examples really of some things that you can look into. And yeah, there's some career opportunities that you can look into with the main campus. There's of course what I was talking about, networking with instructors and peers in our courses. There's the ADAPT program, the Ripen remote internship program, which is a thing that you can look into, internships that can possibly be set up with a wide variety of our programs. It's something that you do have to apply for and then get picked for, but that's something that you can message us about to ask more information if you would like to. And we have some stuff going on with Devant as well. Okay, so we have these mental health resources as well. By the way, you can find all this. I don't want to go through these like point by point in great detail. You folks can find these for yourselves if you do need them. But you can find this all stuff in our help center. So I went to our help center and then I'm going to support services. And this is going to bring me to yeah. So there's career resources, there's newcomer information, here's mental health and wellness, right? As well as financial support and assistance and free writing services. So yeah, there's where you find the mental health and wellness information that we're talking about in this slide. That's how you find it. Yeah, that's help center support services. Okay, so all right, let's move back over to our slide. So yeah, as you saw on the website, we do have writing services as well. This is a thing that's offered through the main campus, but they do offer it remotely. So basically, these are for really a wide variety of purposes. If you have written assignments for your courses, they can be of great help with this. Even if you have something that's relatively short, maybe you have like a discussion post that you have to make for your class, because not too many of our courses are really like super heavy on the written assignments, but lots of them do require you to at least communicate in writing. You could even ask them to help you with your discussion post or something like that if you want to make sure it's really really up as good as it can possibly be. That's the kind of thing they can help with, and really be creative with what you ask them with. If you need help writing with anything that's sort of connected to your McMaster education, you can reach out to these folks. Like I said, they are available remotely, and you can see on the right hand side here, like this is the kind of stuff that they are meant to help you with. Okay, so we already went over some of this information, right? So but I do want to point this out. This information on the left I don't think we've really covered yet, and this is very important. Okay, so if you are, let's say you need an extension on an assignment, or you were having some kind of tech problem and you couldn't submit something on time or something like that. Any questions like that, your number one person that you should reach out to is your course instructor. Course instructor emails or like contact information are located in a contact section that's in Avenue to Learn. So you can find that there. That should be one of your go-to resources. If you're having tech issues, if you're having some kind of problem with if your tech issue is that you're having a problem with enrolling in your course, or you didn't get your Mac ID, or you can't log into Avenue to Learn or something like that, you can actually reach out to us. That's the kind of stuff that we are around to help with, as well as other general questions. How does this program work? What do I have to take? What do you suggest? All those kind of questions. And to contact myself and my team, you go to contact us and you fill out this form, and we reply to this form within a couple of business days. If we can't help you with your tech issue, then what we will likely do is refer you over to UTS, McMaster's IT people. And they have the full capabilities to go in and solve more detailed tech problems. There's also a support desk specifically for Avenue to Learn, and you can find, if you're on the Avenue to Learn website, you'll find there's a help or contact button that you'll be able to see if you look around. And they have help articles, as well as a link specifically to connect with Avenue to Learn specialists. And yeah, then of course I skipped ahead to talking about the information specialist team, my team. Okay, I showed you the help center and where to find that. On the help center page, you'll find an FAQ page, which has a lot of the most common questions that we get. So if you're thinking, oh, this is probably something that other people encounter, the answer to it you can probably find there without even having to message us and wait for us to respond. And there's a really helpful link. This gets sent out in welcome emails, but it's in the help center as well. So that page that we were looking at, and there's a link in there called Student Journey, and the Student Journey page kind of lays out everything. Here's registration from start to finish. A lot of the stuff that I've talked about, especially in regards to getting started with your enrollment and your student journey, it's all kind of laid out on that web page. Okay, so again, if you're trying to I don't know, take a screenshot or scribble down this URL or whatever, I'll just show you again that's in the help center, right? So again, anywhere on our website you can see this top bar, help center, right? And look, it's the very first one here, your student journey. So you click on that, and it's got all the stuff that we were talking about explained: Mac ID, Avenue to Learn, Mosaic, etc., etc. Okay. Oh yeah, and there's also a tab on when you're ready to graduate, which most of you are probably not at that stage right now. But when you are ready to graduate, there is a process that you have to do. It's a quick and easy process, but nevertheless you do have to do it in order to actually receive the credential that you've earned. And these are the instructions for it right here. So you can find that there. There's also instructions for it in our FAQ page as well, right? So if we go back to, or I'm just going to click here, go back to Help Center, and oh yeah, so you scroll down on this page to find our FAQs, and there's a tile in here for how do I graduate as well, and you can search them there. Okay, and that's going to be it for today. That's all we've got for you. So thank you all very much for being here. Like I said, I'm showing you just once again, if you have any outstanding questions that you thought of after our webinar today ended, this is where you go, right? continuing.mcmaster.ca/contact, or you just click on it there, fill out this form. We will get back to you within a couple of business days, and yeah, and help you out or direct you to who can help you. So thank you again for being here, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. All right, take care, everybody.